Welcome to my Fierce Over 50 book readings series. We've been working through this notion of self-care and sort of waking up to what the culture is actually prescribing for us, and moving towards self-healing. And I want to offer a way to think about this that may still take us even further from where you're comfortable thinking about it. We think that because, let me see if I can grab my phone. Well, you imagine, we think that we've been sitting over a desk, holding our phones, hunching forward, and that postural positioning is what causes our problems. And it certainly does, but there is a deeper layer, and it has to do with the patterns of our entire lives. And that's why this work is so deep and so important. And that's why we have to move out of the fixing zone into the self-healing dream space. And Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey wrote a book about actually working with young children who were traumatized. And I was fascinated by their perspective. They noticed how school teachers and therapists and others always asked, "What's wrong with you? What diagnosis do you have?" But they want to shift the question to what happened to you. And I so appreciate that door opening for us to think about what happened to us. What are our life patterns beyond sitting forward over a computer, beyond just plain sitting? So the section that I want to share with you today takes us into that zone of asking the question, what happened to you? Not what's wrong with you. So this section starts with people pleasers. Looking back at what I can discern about my childhood, I sense that my addiction to work came from a desperate, insatiable need as a small child to be loved. If I did well in school, I was rewarded with love and affection, and if I didn't, I was rejected and dismissed. Since young children need to feel loved and supported more than anything, I worked frantically as though my life depended on it. This became a lifelong orientation. In high school, I constantly asked questions to be sure to get things right. As a faculty member, I wrote grants, textbooks, research articles, scholarly books, all purportedly to get tenure and then be promoted to full professor. My work was important. It was very gratifying, teaching students how to write in ways that would help them change the worlds they lived in. I never asked myself, though, why I kept going so desperately when my body was begging me to stop. I remember, for instance, scheduling a massage on the way home after finishing a brutal project. The massage was pure bliss. The skilled therapist kneaded my tight trapezius muscles and softened the stiff muscles of my upper back that had been hunched over the computer. I remember urging myself not to fall asleep on the train ride home, lest I miss my stop. But the next morning, bam! I opened my eyes to a killer headache. My temples throbbed and the back of my neck squeezed like a vice grip. I slowly sat up and instructed myself to eat some breakfast before downing the maximum dose of ibuprofen. Looking back, I could see how this chronic stress lived in my body. The temporary band-aid of a massage brought only momentary relief. I did not know how to say no. If the head of my department suggested a project, I took it on. Success substituted for love. Anger and rage simmered below the surface, meaning that I was saying yes and no at the same time, and my body could not endure this internal contradiction. Oprah Winfrey, in conversation with Bruce Perry, recalls that she learned about herself and others' inability to say no. 217 episodes of The Oprah Winfrey Show focused on sexual abuse, And I saw a profound through line for most victims, including myself. When you've been groomed to be compliant, confrontation in any form is uncomfortable because you were never taught that you have the right to say no. The sense that you are deserving enough to set your own boundaries has been stolen from you. Many people react by burying their feelings. Lost my place. By burying their feelings of no and becoming people pleasers. I fall in that category. For years, I would say yes to things I really did not want to do, or avoid difficult conversations because I could not live with the discomfort of speaking up for myself. Women like us in our 50s, 60s, and 70s or more have accumulated layers and layers of burnout and stress that appear in our lives as worry, disease, inflammation, tightness, pain, excess weight, and stiffness. We wear this legacy like a suit of armor, often more comfortable with it than taking it off. But now, as we enter this transitional time in our lives when we are asking profound questions about our life's meaning and about how we want to travel through the next 50 years, a curiosity awakens within us. When Nancy Collier insists that we are our most reliable source of well-being, we begin to wonder what that might look like. What would we do differently? How would this capacity feel? Where do we start? The shift leads to a full body. I'm sorry, I missed a sentence here, but this tendency to please leads to a full body tension, exacerbated worry, and pain on a platter. So what do? We Google neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, and the self-care industry populates our screens with immediate solutions. A shoulder harness that keeps our posture erect. It's so easy to click buy. But today I can stop. Despite the impulse that the sooner I buy this shoulder harness, the sooner I can get back to work and get this project finished, I know that this is an empty promise. It's a hoax. It's promising my mind a solution, and my mind does love a sexy solution. Just slip that harness on and you'll be back in the game. No, I tell myself no more. My body is more present now. She breathes. She breathes again. She feels her fierce self, and she reminds me that there is another way. She offers compassion. She knows my brain has been hijacked by decades of well-intentioned efforts to achieve and succeed. She knows this, and she gently reminds me. I sink back into my body and realize that it would be lovely to lay on the floor with my knees up. I desire the weight of an eye pillow, quieting my overworked eyes. I lay down and rock my pelvis gently up and down as my body feels the breath flow into my chest and my belly and my pelvic floor. Then I exhale through my nose, luxuriously stretching the breath for as long as it feels supportive. After the exhale is complete, I notice this quiet moment of no breath, the stillness. My body now supports me, and my brain has let go, at least for a moment. So, this is why we need a program like the FierceOver50 Gathering. You can't learn this in a class. And every time your people-pleasing tendencies come up, it's just the most amazing process in the world to be with other women and talk it through and say, oh, this is something I do again and again, and I'm going to set some boundaries. And I've seen some amazing boundary setting going on over the year in the FierceOver50 Gathering with the women who come together. So if this feels good in your body and you're interested, go to FierceOver50.com and click on Work With Me and get in touch. Take care. Bye-bye.